There we go. All right, everybody, good evening. Welcome to Great Minds Session 3. My name is Darren Adair with American Hospitality Consulting. I appreciate you all taking the time to join us this evening. We've got a great evening. I'm very excited about tonight. We've got some amazing guest speakers who are going to be sharing on a couple of different topics, starting off with our digital marketing and then into loyalty programs. But as always, I'm going to start off with a bit of the disclaimer here, because I just want to make sure that everybody is comfortable with the information that's being shared, and a reminder that this information is being shared freely. There's no guarantees that if you try some of these things are going to work, but these are professionals, and the opinions are good, but you'd make the right decision for your business and decide what you want to take from this. I really hope everybody will share. We've had some great discussions in the last few meetings, and I'm excited to hear what everybody has to say on these topics for tonight. But we're going to start off with just a quick introduction of our speakers, and then we'll get rolling in here. So we've got the two topics, like I said, digital marketing, and I'm very excited to have Jen Hiltunen from Wild Fig Marketing and Doug Smith from Restaurant Marketing That Works. We're going to talk to us a bit on that topic. And then we're going to switch over into loyalty programs. And I've got Frank Fennell from Close By and Lance Popke from Restaurant Funnel, who are going to share on that. I would ask that I'm going to let the speakers finish their presentations and then take questions. If you have questions while they're talking, please feel free to put that through to the chat, and I will pull it up. I've actually already had a question sent to me from somebody on LinkedIn who's going to be a little late, so we're starting off great. But as soon as they're finished their presentations, I will then call you guys to ask your questions. So without further ado, I would like to introduce everybody to Jen Hiltunen from Wild Fig Marketing. Jen, welcome to Great Minds Session.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Well, like Darren said, I'm Jen Hiltunen with Wild Fig Marketing. We're located in the South Metro of Minnesota, South Metro, Minneapolis, Minnesota. I've been working with B2B and B2C clients for over just about 18 years. Funny story about that. I say 15 years all the time. And then the other day I was thinking, I've certainly been saying 15 years for a really long time. I should probably see how long it's really been. And it's 18, probably closer to 19 now that I'm actually talking about it. But the last 10 years or so, I've really been focused in on digital marketing and helping clients really get more leads, generate more revenue online. So I thought I would share with you today just a couple of things that we talk to our clients about when we're implementing a digital marketing strategy. Two of the things I always talk about, consistency and creativity. So if you implement both of those different things, you're going to have some good results, and you're going to set yourself apart from your competition. So the more consistent you are with anything that you do, the better results you're going to have. And if you add creativity into that, I think that your results are just going to grow and skyrocket from there. So two tools that we typically use, we use a lot of tools, but the two I want to talk about today would be social media marketing and email marketing. I feel like the restaurant and hospitality industry use both of these tools a lot, but I do think that there are things that you could do to set yourself apart from what others are doing. So for social media, I would encourage you to really figure out who your ideal customer is, maybe not even who comes in right now and who is frequenting your business, but who do you want that to be? And then decide what channels they're using. So for instance, I looked up some stats as of January of this year, so pretty recent stats. I'll just read those to you. On Facebook, male and female users aged 25 to 34 were the biggest Facebook user groups in the US, followed closely by 35 to 44-year-olds. And in January, also with Instagram, 33% of the users were 25 to 34, and the second largest group was 18 to 24-year-olds. And over half of the Instagram users are female. So Instagram is going to skew a little bit younger, Facebook a little bit older, but I feel like both groups spend a lot of money on eating out, entertainment, and doing things like that. So those are probably going to be two of the social media channels that you'd want to look into. And I tell people, choose one. If you can't commit to both or multiple, choose one and do it really well. So to do it really well, you need to commit to it and you need to post regularly. That might be assigning an employee to take charge of that. Find somebody that's really passionate about it on your staff and give them a little extra something to do it for you so that you know it's getting done with enthusiasm and it's happening consistently. And then get creative. Try to weave things in that are going to go viral or gain attention, encourage people to share, those types of things. So a couple of examples during this last year, I saw a restaurant here locally that set up a drive-in movie theater with their takeout food. So basically you're ordering takeout food, you're in the parking lot and they set up a big screen and they did a drive-in movie. It's just something creative that other restaurants weren't doing. Another thing you could do is create themes to drive more traffic. So if you're slower on a Tuesday, come up with some sort of a theme. I think you've probably seen, just like all of us, that every day seems to be a national something day, and people really get behind it on social media. So either tag on to those national days, look at a calendar and figure out which ones you want to piggyback on, or come up with a different theme that's all on your own. But doing things like that, it'll set yourself apart and people get really excited about that. Another thing I saw recently was a restaurant that did a campaign that was, I think it was called have a drink on us with donated goods or donated food or something along those lines. And I just remember thinking, what a great way that company was giving back to their customers for donating to a local food shelf when everybody, it was something that was really relevant to everybody in the area. So I just think coming up with ideas like that for social media and getting creative are really going to go far for you. The other piece would be email marketing. So if you're like me, you get a million emails a day and half of them go right in the trash. So as a business owner, you might be thinking, why would I waste my time sending out emails? And I would say the answer is pretty simple, because it's a quick and easy way to get in front of people. So if you have the right strategy behind these emails, they're going to be opened and you're going to get great results. So I would ask you to think about a couple of things when you're implementing an email marketing campaign. And that is, why are you sending it? And what is your goal? What do you want people to do? Do you want them to order? Do you want them to join your loyalty program? What are you looking to accomplish with that email? And give them a reason to do that. So, make the content compelling, really make the subject line creative. That's going to be the key to getting them to open the email. If it's just a standard May newsletter, that's probably going to go right into their trash. They're not going to read it. But if it's, something else that's more creative, they're going to open it. And then once they open it, even if they don't take action right now, try to have the information in there relevant to them and what they're doing, so that if they don't take action right now, they have a reason to open that next email that you send out. So those are the two things I would say are probably the easiest to implement if you put the right strategy behind them, and they're going to get you the best return for getting new customers in the door. I'm happy to answer any questions when we get to that period of time, but I just wanted to share those few tips, and hopefully that was helpful.
Awesome. Thank you, Jen. Appreciate that. Doug, we're going to jump right into you. And Jen, I do have a question that's come up that we'll be able to ask when we get to that point. But everybody, I'd like to introduce you to Doug Smith with Restaurant Marketing That Works. Doug, welcome, and thank you for being a part of tonight.
Cool. Thanks, Darren. Quick background. We are Restaurant Marketing That Works. My media and marketing background, I spent 30 years in the radio industry, worked for CBS, Cox, Hubbard Radio, Bonneville. I see Mike Lee, I see iHeart showing up, so I have a fellow radio person here. And I've been in the digital space with my business partner, Matt Plapp, who created the platform that we use for the past 2 years. And I think having the novelty of only being in the space for 2 years is a huge benefit, because there are some very simple things that you can do to piggyback on what Jen just said that can help you stand out and get engagement and be different. And I'm going to talk about one, because this is the thing that we typically talk until we are blue in the face to get our clients to do. And it's using this thing right here. This is the greatest marketing tool that you can have, because you can do video and you can go live. And we talk again until we are blue in the face to get customers and clients in restaurants to do video. Take your top competitors right now, not while we're here, but when we're done. Go to their Facebook page, their Instagram page, their social media, go to their website. How many of them are doing video? And I'm not talking high-end professional with all the great lighting and everything. I'm talking good, organic, generic, customer-generated content. Some of the biggest brands I talk to are horrible at utilizing the organic elements of video. Now, for you as an owner, operator, business person, it's probably one of the scariest things you could think of. I hear all the time, oh, I'm not on video, I stink, I wouldn't do that. Oh, people are going to comment about me. You have to overcome that fear. Do video. The number one thing I would recommend, if you consistently are doing social media, digital marketing, and you post a lot of pictures are fine. Video is the king of engagement. Do an A/B test. And I promise you right now, the video will kill the pictures that you're doing. If you have, say, it's a Thursday night and you have drink specials, you have happy hour, and you typically post pictures of a drink, go ahead and post that picture. Have your bartender, if you have a bar, bartenders usually have good personality, shoot a video making said drink. Hey, by the way, I'm going to make a Tom Collins. I'm old. Okay, it's a Tom Collins. I'm sure there's, fancier drinks out there. They're making it, they're pouring it, they're describing everything they're putting in. It's 2 shots of this and this and this. Boom, come and get yours. Watch what happens. That video will get more engagement, more organic, more back end, more virality. It's going to tell a story. Video tells a story. It's 3-dimensional where the picture's 2-dimensional. If you do not have the comfort level to get on video, to stand here and do this, find somebody on your staff who does. I promise you, you have somebody in that restaurant who has a good personality, who can convey the message. We have a client, it's a 1-location barbecue place in Moore, Oklahoma. They do video all the time. Sometimes it's horrible lighting. Sometimes, jokingly, I'll tell them, hey, you need to trim your nose because the video is actually going up your nose and, all this stuff. It's not perfect, but it consistently, their videos get over 1,000 views. And you know how much money they spend on those videos? 0. It's because they've got that engagement. They're connecting with their fans, their customers. They go behind the scenes. It's a barbecue place. They'll show the smoker. They'll show making the brisket. They'll show the burnt ends and all of this. And it's a way to personally connect with people. Michael understand in the radio business, when you're on the air, you visualize who's your audience. If you're a female-oriented station, her name, what she looks like, age. You've got this visual profile. When you're doing video, what I tell people is when you're looking into this phone and you're trying to do a video, think of the one person you're the most comfortable with. It could be your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, grandma, grandpa, your dog, I don't care. Visualize you're talking to that one person. You will use singular words because everyone is engaging in that video as an individual, just like in the radio. Everyone's listening as an individual. That's why you don't hear DJs talk about, hey, you all, it's you. Same thing on the video. Engage, think of that one person. Your comfort level will come down, essentially, your barrier, you'll feel more comfortable, but you will talk and you're talking to that one person, it will come over in the video. You will get more comments, more people saying they saw it. And it's also weird. People think that I'm weird when I say this, but there's also a subconscious effect to it. when you do videos, if you're an owner operator, you're in a restaurant space, and people see enough of your videos, if they come in and they see you doing the table touches or walking around, there's a subconscious feeling that they already know you. It happens in radio and TV personalities all the time. You see someone who's on television, you see them, it's kind of like, oh my God, there's so-and-so. You don't know them from Adam, but there's a perception that you do. And that's the one thing video really allows you to do. They hear your voice, they see you, you become a known familiar commodity. And it just brings that emotional connection closer. And if there's anything that is imperative right now, when it comes to the restaurant space and business in general, it's truly connecting with your customers. Video will allow you to do that. Again, that doesn't have to be fancy, doesn't even have to be perfect. If you screw up, who cares? Now, if you're dropping 4-letter words, maybe you got to edit it out, but be you. If you screw up, laugh about it. That stuff resonates. So get comfortable. And if you're not comfortable, so what? Try it anyway. We all have one of these. Shoot some videos, go behind the scenes, peel back the curtain, and start connecting with your customers and let them know who you are. Let them know that you're real and show them some insight and bring your product to life. Pictures are fine. Video is really the king. And again, if you don't believe me, go to your top competitors, Facebook page, Instagram, or whatever. When we're done, look how often they're doing videos. If they are, look at what kind of engagement they're doing. Chances are they're not doing any of them. And if they are, it's very sporadic. That's a huge open gap for you to jump in and do something different and connect with your customers at a higher level than most people are. That's my one tip that I want to give to you. Please do it.
Awesome. Thanks, Doug. You know, I remember the first video I ever did, and it definitely was intimidating. I you know, how can I do videos? I'm not a TV personality. I don't even want to look at myself, let alone other people look at me. But you know, it just, you do this and you get more comfortable every time you do it. But you're right, it is creating that connection. So great feedback, guys. Thank you so much for that. So we're going to get into questions now. I'm going to ask both of you this question. This is the one I got on LinkedIn earlier, and then Anjali, if you want to unmute yourself after that, and you can ask your question that you had. I had a reach out from somebody who is multi-unit franchisee, and they wanted to know your opinion on when you're doing the Facebook piece. Should you do that? You know, if you're multi-unit, should you have one page that encompasses your entire group, or should you have individual pages for each location?
I can
So
start
Jen, if you
with,
want to go first.
Yeah, go ahead,
Sure.
Jen.
So we work with a lot of franchises, and they have, I think it depends on location. So if they're spread out, you know, in different cities, different areas, I would definitely say they need to have their own page. The reason being is you can still have that feel and you can still have that strategy that's the same, but people are going to want to see what's happening locally in that specific area. If you're all in one area, I think you could probably get away with just having one, but for the most part, all of the franchises we work with have their own page, and we just make sure that everything's branded the same way, same strategy behind it, incorporating the same ideas, but being able to put that personal touch to it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. We see it two ways. There's really two types of franchisors that we come in contact with. We work with a lot of franchises. You have one who the franchisor rules with an iron fist, and they do not allow the local franchisees to be creative and be themselves. Everything is fed top down, and you can visit 100 pages and it's all the same gobbledygook all the way down. It's boring. There's nothing going on. In that sense, great. Just have one page, feed everyone into it. You'll get a big following, and, you know, so to speak. But the most powerful is when these individual franchises can have their own page and they can localize it. You know, I'm in Cincinnati, and we've got the east side and the west side, and it really is the Hatfield and the McCoys. If I live on the east side, we don't give two rips about anything going on the west side. If we're talking about high school football or sports, people are like, who cares? So when you have that individual page, yes, you have the ability to do it. And those franchisees that really get what social media, digital, and they get creative and they're really in the community, it's grassroots stuff. but in the digital element, their pages flourish. And it's funny, I'm sure Jen's probably seen this. You have individual franchises, you could have 20 franchises, you have 3 or 4 of them, their pages are killing it. The other 17 are sitting here floundering, and you kind of like, do you not see what these other people are doing? Why don't you do it?
It's exactly,
yes.
yeah, exactly our same experience. So we have a group that does learning, like tutoring, and they have some down in the southern states that are just doing way better than any of the ones up here. And if you look at what they're doing the Facebook Live videos. They're really engaged. They're doing stuff in the community and they're posting about it. And the ones up here are just taking here's what I'm supposed to be putting out there. I know I need to do something, and you can tell the difference. So.
Yep, absolutely. Good question.
Yeah, awesome. Anjali, did you want to ask your question?
Sure. Yeah, I just unmute. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Great. Hi. So I think one thing I wanted to add, just because I do a lot of, right now it seems to be manual season for whatever reason. So that's kind of where we're at, Darren. And
Yep.
I feel like a lot of franchisees right now are updating manuals, and also franchisors are updating manuals as well. So anytime, I just wanted to provide a caution when you are doing recordings of any kind, just to make sure that if, obviously there's no other parties that are, can be seen, heard, make sure that the team is up to date on your social media and recording policy. I mean, lots of really well-intentioned employees can jump in there and, just say, hey, I see my owner's doing it, so maybe I'll do it. And then next thing you know, maybe they've posted something that they shouldn't have. So just making sure everybody's on the same page before you start implementing that is always like just good practice, and just making sure if that's something new for a group to update your team on that as well, just to, again, thinking of the franchisor's perspective. And then the question that I had for Jen was, is there a trending list of subject lines right now, if you're doing email and marketing campaigns that do have a higher open rate right now? So, I'm assuming like maybe there's something more with COVID related, but, do you have any kind of words of wisdom for us?
Yeah, so I have a resource that I shared on LinkedIn. I'll try to find it and tag it back into this group so you guys can have that. I think there's like 15 or 20 subject lines that are trending. But one thing I would say that is really helpful and will really set your subject line apart is using emojis, which can seem childish, but emojis catch attention, and they do a really great job of getting higher open rates. You can also, when you're posting in social media, one thing is if I can't remember the percentage, but if the first few if within the first few words you use emojis in your social media posts, your engagement goes up there as well. So for whatever reason, when people are scrolling on social media, it catches their eye. And when they're, in their email box and they see the subject line with an emoji, it stands out to them. So I guess that would be the one thing I would say, try to incorporate emojis. And then I will find that resource and share it in the, on LinkedIn in the group.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. Any other questions for Doug or Jen, guys, on digital marketing piece and the stuff they shared? Any other thing, anybody tried anything recently that has had a good result for them? All right, well, we'll circle back to that. I know I've seen some of the stuff you guys have talked about, and I think I've mentioned it both to Doug and to Jen, some of the stuff here locally where you'll have, restaurants that are very close to each other, and you got this one place that is just rocking it on their social, and they got, 18,000 followers. And then you got another one that's been around even longer, and they've got 300, because every once in a while they'll post a picture of a menu item, and it's just, it's such a great resource and so many opportunities. So great information, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. With no other questions, we're going to move into topic number 2. Hugh, Hugh, did you want to unmute yourself and share a little bit?
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Just saying that it's so hard to launch a campaign when you're closed or not currently open. So right now, I'm just trying to get some ideas for when we do reopen. Even though I'm in the hotel business, it's still one that we only have right now if we're lucky, we're at 30% of occupancy each night. And that's a good night. And most of those are from construction group crews who don't want food and beverage. So that's just what's going on here.
Yeah, and it is, and I know, Angela, you just shared it. It can actually be a great time, because if you're utilizing this time to still, put stuff out there, it's going to keep you relevant when you do reopen. It's going to keep you top of mind, so that your regulars and others in the community are going to realize, you know what, we need to go in there. We need to check this out, because they're going to remember you. So,
Hey,
Darren,
yeah. One thing I just wanted to add real quick for Hugh. It goes back to the mantra that the best time to advertise is when everybody else isn't. Usually when there's an economic downturn and people pull back the reins, you get going. It's a perfect time. And I think the barbecue place in Oklahoma, again, is a great example. They connect when things were closed. They were doing videos talking about what was going on. Beef prices went up, and they said, hey, we can't carry this anymore. Here's why. You can still talk about yourself, your business, what you're doing, how you're handling these things. So when it starts to turn, you're more visible. If you wait until everything reopens, then you're going to be behind the 8 ball. Build that momentum now and gain visibility and tell your story. Let people know who you are.
Yeah, definitely. Excellent point. And then you guys may have seen it, but Jen just shared also on your socials, make sure that your hours of operation information is accurate. Experience that. Very frustrating when you're trying to either place an order or show up somewhere and you're closed or closing earlier than what your social says. It's definitely going to, that's going to leave an impression in the guest's mind as well. So very good point. Thank you, Jen. All right, guys, we're going to jump into topic number 2, which is loyalty programs. And we have got 2 great experts who are going to share with us on that tonight. We've got Frank Fennell from Close By and Lance Popke from Restaurant Funnel. So we're going to start off with Frank. He's going to start sharing first. Frank, thank you very much for being here tonight. It's a pleasure to have you part of Great Minds Session 3, and take it away.
Thanks, Darren. I appreciate it. I've been doing loyalty for almost 30 years. In my past, I spent most of my time working with very large enterprise accounts with extraordinary budgets. But after I sold that last company, I wanted to do something a little unique and make loyalty affordable. And I'd like to also address something that Hugh said, because what we have created when it comes to loyalty helps businesses that are closed or partially opened. When you look at the data, the numbers are staggering. If you can get somebody to come in your restaurant one time, you're 5 times more likely to have them come in a second time. If they come in a second time, you're 9 times more likely to have them come in again. And the easiest way, the most cost-effective way to do it is with loyalty, if you can afford it. Well, that's what we've created. We've created a platform so that a restaurateur that is currently closed, like Hugh is, can build their profile on our app, create their advertisements for when it's ready, use our point-based loyalty program to engage locals so that they're in your network, and we have first-party owned data, which is critical today. So when you know you're going to open up on Friday, the whatever day it is of the month, you can send out a message to your customers and engage them quickly. So with loyalty, the trick is very simple. You just talk about it. You tell people to join your program and you remove all barriers. We've done that in several betas with restaurants. And what we figured out very quickly is driving traffic from social and from the community into the restaurant is really easy to do because people love points. Once you get them using a point-based loyalty program, they're yours. The trick is keeping it active, making sure that the awards are attainable. And if you have a program and you tell somebody, well, if you eat with us 40 times, we'll give you a free steak. Don't even try it. Just leave it in the closet because it'll never work. But if you tell your customers, come in and I'll give you an appetizer, share my advertisements on social media and I'll give you some points. Once you start feeding them with points, they come back more often because they realize that there's something in it for them. And when it comes to supporting a local restaurant, the shouts and the cries we hear for local today have never been louder. And I don't think we're going to see that change for quite some time. So keep it simple. Use points as a currency, which happens to be the second most popular currency in the US, and make the awards attainable. If you can do that, you'll bring people into the restaurants and then you'll keep them coming back time and time again.
Perfect. Thank you, Frank. Remember, guys, if you got questions as we're going through, just send them to me in the chat, and then I'll pull you in at the end of the chat. Lance, there you are.
Hey,
How you doing, Lance?
here. I'm hanging in
So
there.
yeah, good. So Lance Popke with Restaurant Funnel. Lance, appreciate you being here with us tonight. Take it away.
Cool. So when most people think about loyalty, they think about dollars spent and how guests are loyal with their wallet. We at Restaurant Funnel kind of look at it a different way and look at a different way of what it means to be loyal. Although dollars spent are extremely important, sometimes the question isn't necessarily rewarding top spenders. People are coming into your restaurant to collect loyalty points, or are they coming into your restaurant because it's awesome and the points are just a bonus? So traditional loyalty rewards the people who spend the most. And although we love to fill the restaurant with twice a week diners who always spend above the average, that unfortunately sometimes isn't a reality. You know, just like your menu is made up of different items to satisfy different tastes, your guests who dine with you are all different and are in different circumstances. So someone who dines with you once a quarter may be the only time they go out and are committed to dining at your restaurant. Whereas someone who sees you once a week might go out every night and visit a different place and are always tempted by the next thing. So those people who come out only once a quarter, they may be not paying the rent with their dollars spent, and most of the time we would assume that they are not loyal. So we look at it differently. We approach this as being loyal to the brand. So again, my name's Lance. I'm from Restaurant Funnel. Our company delivers new guests to your restaurant guaranteed. I've been a franchisee, a franchisor, an independent operator, and now am doing restaurant marketing a little bit different than the norm. See, the thing is with marketing, it only works on people that let it work for them. So most people, like over 80% of people, are not visiting your restaurant because they saw an ad or as a direct result of your marketing. They're visiting because they heard your restaurant was great from a friend or a family member. So who are these friends and family members spreading the good word? They are people who believe in your brand, who have a connection to your restaurant, who have a sense of ownership in your success, and they want you to be successful. They may not be the biggest spenders, but they are your biggest ambassadors. They share every post, they forward every email, and they're the ones shouting your name in the Zoom call when someone's asking for a new place to try. These are what I call super fans. They are priceless. These people can't be bought, they can't be forced to promote. They do it because they want to do it, because they genuinely love your restaurant. But how do you take care of them? How do you reward their loyalty? Any decent restaurant manager will be able to recognize a guest that comes in once a week, or maybe even once a month. And those guests are extremely important guests and should always be taken care of. But how does a restaurant manager recognize that new guest that's been referred by, let's call her Sally, and that this is the fourth new table that Sally has referred this month? So maybe we need to rename this loyalty program. What if we called it by what it is and by what is being so widely used in the world right now to build big businesses? Let's call it an affiliation program. How many points would you give for an introduction to someone new to your brand? If you had a super fan who brought in a new guest every month, would that be worth a free dinner? See, affiliation means build brand ambassadors. Again, I call these ambassadors super fans. These super fans can get your message to people who won't listen to your marketing. You build a database, you find out information about these people, and you reward them with interactions of your brand. You know, it sounds simple. And so the big thing is why don't a lot of restaurants do this? You know, it takes time and it takes consistency and it takes a bit of experimentation to figure out what works for your guest. But when it's done right, it's like compound interest. You know, the first results may seem minimal, but if one person tells one person and that one person tells two people and those two people tell two people, after a year, you've resulted in over 1,000 people being made aware of your brand. But you keep going, and now after the second year, you potentially have millions of people that have heard about your restaurant. So with our loyalty program, we say, don't forget about the once in a while diner. They may be your biggest supporter.
Awesome. Thanks, Lance. Appreciate it. You know, Lance, when you and I were talking the other day, and we were talking a bit about this, and you mentioned the people that are sharing and liking and doing that kind of thing. You know, I had that light bulb go off over my head because I hadn't really thought of it that way before. And I'm sure there's ways that you can pull that information. You can see that. I mean, you know who your top fans are on your page because Facebook will tell you that stuff. But, you know, rewarding those people for basically giving you that free marketing is they're going to share that out too. Like it's just going to continue to, you know, domino on top of each other. And like you said, tell two friends and so on and so on. It's like that for those of you who are old enough like me to remember that shampoo commercial back in the early 80s. You know, she told two friends and so on, and it looked like a Zoom page actually. That it's we underrate, I think, that piece of it. So I think that's a really great idea. You know, guys, I'd love to hear some feedback from you on thoughts. Are you working with any of that? Have you started doing any of that for your business? And for the experts, what's the best way to collect that data, find those people, and start doing that? Right? Because you know, this is a little bit of a newer thing to some people, and they're not going to know where to go find that data and how to approach it. So I don't if any one of the experts want to give feedback on that piece of it.
What we've seen on our end is from a mobile app standpoint, and we know the popularity of a mobile app. More consumers abandon a mobile app than they stay engaged because it's typically only for the heavy users, which means you're missing the light and the medium users. Because of IDFA, because of third-party cookies, making it easy for a consumer to receive information and not get bombarded with emails or spams or selling the data. Putting it into a funnel where a business owner can look at the data and actually understand it is critical. And we've taken over 5 years to build the platform, which you've seen, and putting the first party owned data in front of a merchant of any type so that they understand it and it's actionable is critical, especially over the next couple of years as things continue to change.
Awesome. So for the individual guy, the single restaurant owner who's just kind of getting started, and you know, what direction would you point them at though to start doing this? Because we started off, you know, the Facebook page. You got to start utilizing. You got to get some content on there. You got to do your videos. You got to post regularly. Be consistent. You know, and then you're going to start getting those likes. You're going to start getting those comments and all that kind of stuff. So, what would you guys direct them to do, or how would you direct them to manage that? If just because they're all going to want to start on their own, right? They need to look and see it themselves. They're not going to go directly out to something else because they're entrepreneurs. They're business owners or business operators. And there's a bit of pride in all of us when we're doing something at first. We want to do it ourselves first, right? And I think the majority of people here are in that same category. I know some of you are because I know I've known you for years. So where do you get them to start off? Because once they start off and they see, okay, yeah, this is the stuff, but you know what? And they finally realized I don't have time to do this. I got not farther. They'll look for other things. Where should they start the focus? What types of things should they do to start collecting some of that on their own that will then eventually get them to where they really need to be?
Lance, if you want to take that, otherwise I'll jump right in again.
Yeah, sure. So for us, we really believe in the incentive-based marketing. So we look at it as the same thing as going into a grocery store and walking by and getting a food sample. And you get this sample to try, and if you like it, then you hopefully buy the product. And so that's where we, no matter how much marketing or how much programs you have, if you're not getting those butts in the seats, it doesn't mean anything. So with an incentive based program, the thing is that it can be trackable. So you give someone an incentive, they come in, they use it, that they've been in there, and you have that information from them, and you can start marketing to them. That's one of the big things, that's really good about loyalty programs, right? You start to see who is who has been visiting your restaurant, and you can start segmenting people based on different things. But the big thing that I find is that with social media, if that's your only plan, then it's like taking a megaphone and just screaming into a crowded room, right? Not everybody's going to hear you. So you need to have a little bit more of a direct approach and, find out who's actually in your restaurant and market to those people who have actually had your brand and facilitate them to, go and spread the word a little bit.
If I could jump in there, Darren.
Sure,
I was
you
actually
bet.
replying to a message that was sent to me, and it's exactly where I was going to take this. For the restaurateurs that want to try something, first of all, it's got to be affordable. If it's not
Right.
affordable, stay the hell away from it. If it requires hardware integration, long-term contracts, stay away from it.
Right.
Bragging on our platform, if a business says, I'd like to try this and experiment, my God, we love that. Sign up, it's free, no contract, we give you a bank of points. And the easiest way to find out what works is test. Try
Right.
it, look at the data. If the data tells you it's working, keep doing it. If the data tells you it's not working, change it. And the ability to go into a system and make edits in real time without limits. I was on a demo recently, and the person, the CEO of the company, looked at me and says, let me get this straight. Somebody can go in there and edit one of the advertisements in it's digital advertising within our platform, and they can change it literally 100 times a day at their discretion, and you don't charge them extra. Why? Why charge somebody for finding a solution that works best specifically for their business in their market? So
Right.
affordability, no contract, no integration, and let somebody test it themselves on their own audience. Find out what works for you.
Good point. Thanks, Frank. I'm going to put somebody on the spot here, somebody whose social media posts I get to see on a regular basis because I follow his Instagram and his Facebook, and I don't know if he's figured it out yet, but Mr. Dawson, if you want to share a little bit about what your strategy was and how you kind of got into it, because like I said, I see your stuff, that I'm liking it and I'm sharing it and that kind of thing. But how did you get started with your plan, and what have you found has worked for your group?
Yeah. So, hey, thanks, Darren.
Yep.
So what we did I guess we first started off by looking with our few posts that we had, who was liking them, trying to figure out what the characteristics were of those people, and then started targeting them on by seeing what they were looking at on social, what they were liking and sharing and what they were posting, going after the feel of what they wanted to do. Then as our base grew, excuse me, we started looking at our analytics of when our users were posting and who our followers were. And then we started really digging into targeting that, making sure we were present when they were using the platform. And then from there, we went even further and started in our cafes and talking to our customers, finding out who exactly is our user and really digging into specifically targeting who our supporters are, and then gearing our social media plan and strategy around targeting those people exactly. So for us, it's 78% women between the ages of 30 and 60. They make over $60,000, so on and so forth, regardless of kids or whatever. They like different flavors. 40% of them are drinking wine. So we really started focusing in on what they're doing and how do we meet their needs and what they're liking and how do we satisfy them. So really it was just trying to understand every day who was liking our posts, and then what is it about our post that they liked, and then what do we need to do to attract more like that. So we kept it pretty
Awesome.
simple.
Oh, that's great. Thanks, Al. And I think, Jen, that goes back to something you said at the very beginning, getting to know who your clientele, your guest, your regulars are, and develop something that's going to speak to that. So some good points there. Mr. Preston, I'm not sure if you're doing anything for your group of restaurants or if that's something that you're able to do, being part of a franchise system. Any thoughts or comments on what we've talked about?
Yeah, I mean, we are. And as the owner of three locations, you know, we have the capability to run our own account. So the comment that Jen made earlier is bang on as far as the approach that we've taken. So we have some guidelines, obviously, from a franchisor standpoint around how we can engage with our guests, what sort of content, you know, following brand standards, that sort of thing. But, you know, where there are restaurants close to each other, those accounts are combined. But, you know, as an operator who runs restaurants in two different geographic areas, I have two different accounts that we have to maintain and so on, even though the franchisor has a master one. But you know, I really was liking what Doug was saying from a video standpoint. Those are some things that we want to explore. And I've always found that, you know, the content that we share needs to be very relevant and meaningful, and not corporate is a word I use a lot. So I try and post pictures of the team, try and, you know, get the guests to connect with the restaurant and the team at the restaurant. And that, you know, I'm certainly not an expert at social media, but I've always believed that doing that sort of thing versus posting a picture of a, you know, a photo edited sandwich is going to be way meaningful. And we always see more engagement on those types of posts.
Awesome. Yeah, being genuine and real, I think, is something that people are really looking for right now. And I know, Doug, you did mention that, and others have as well. So definitely some key points. You know, Mr. Lipinski, I see you were able to make it. I did get an answer to your question, sir. But you know, as a multi-unit guy, you know, did you want to share any thoughts on what we've talked about? Nope. Maybe that's not the Tom that I thought it was. All right. Any other questions, guys, for on the loyalty topic, or anything else on the digital marketing topic? I mean, there's a lot of great opportunity, and because your guests aren't coming into the restaurants right now, these are the things we need to start looking at, right? If you haven't already, you're way behind, but starting now is better than not getting started at all. So, you know, I'd love to hear some things that others have started utilizing to try and drive things in their restaurants and things that have worked. So,
Hey, Darren, could I chime in one thing to just add on what the two gentlemen already said about the database and everything? If you do not have a customer database, you better start figuring out a way to get one. Data, and first party data, as was referenced, is the new currency. You have to have a database, you have to own it, and you need to use it. I'm shocked at how many people use some of the big time loyalty programs out there and they don't use the data. It's like having a Ferrari and keeping it parked in the garage. But it's not just that, it's also understanding who the customer is. You know, I was talking about digital media. My business partner created a platform 6 years ago, and it's all about building segmented database stuff. So we understand, is it a female who's married with kids? They're going to get a different message than a 23-year-old who doesn't have kids. They don't care about family night or whatever else. That's on a pretty deep level. And, you know, it's like if you haven't run in 5 years, you're not going to run a marathon. You're going to kill yourself. Start small. If you don't have a database or you haven't really put your toe in the water, start small, but start getting something that you own that allows you to connect with your customers on your terms. How you can start to engage, whether it's email or texting or whatever, something that allows you to start understanding who they are and driving business. One of the biggest things that we have seen during COVID, the restaurants that have survived and done pretty well, there's one common factor. They've had a database, a loyalty program, something that has allowed them to nurture that relationship during a downturn. The businesses who struggled, and not just restaurants, but businesses in general, had no way to get a hold of their customers when they were shut down. I have a restaurant that cut a hole in the side of their restaurant and created a drive-through. They had a database of 7,000 people. At a moment's notice, they could send out a text, an email, go, hey, by the way, they did a video. They walked through what the drive-through lane looks like. Today, even though restaurants are opening back up, 60% of their businesses drive-through. A year ago today, they didn't have a drive-through, but they had the ability to connect. So I implore you, if you're a restaurant or a business and you do not have a database, start building one somehow, some way, and start utilizing it. It makes all the difference in the world.
Awesome. No, it's great feedback. Thank you, sir. And it just reminds me of, one of the things that got me started with Great Minds in the first place was a restaurant close to me, Whiskey Inferno's, who they turned an old shipping canister into a drive-through window, set it up in their parking lot so people didn't have to get out of their cars in the cold and, could pre-order. And they did the whole thing. They did that walk. They posted a video. They created a Christmas tree out of whiskey barrels. I mean, they gave you that sense of what they were doing, and it made you a part of it. And now they have, I think it's 15, 18,000 followers on their Facebook page. So they've done that. They've obviously built themselves a really good database, and they've some great connections. But it's those are the types of things we need to hear and share and talk about. These things that are working to help those that because some of it is fear, right? It's some of that is that false events appearing real. You're scared to share anything or do anything because what if it's the wrong thing? What if it's the right thing? I mean, the only way you're going to know is if you try. So we need to start, sharing that information out, and that's why I appreciate all of you being here tonight and sharing your thoughts and ideas on this. And to my four guest speakers who came in, Jen and Doug and Frank and Lance, I really appreciate you guys sharing the information that you did with the group. I do have one other person that I'm going to get to speak tonight, but just are there any other questions for our four guest speakers at this point, guys? All right, I just want to introduce one more person this evening, Robbie McBride with Real Hospitality Network. Robbie and Chef Jason have really helped me got me started on doing the videos and the postings and all that kind of stuff to help build my brand. And, it's been a great resource for me. It's really helped me to move things along. So I wanted to just thank the Real Hospitality Network and just give Robbie a couple seconds to tell you guys what this is, because I think it's a great way to do some of the things that we've been talking about. So Robbie, if you're there, if you wanted to unmute yourself and share, that would be great.
I'm sitting here working away. I'm drinking my tea, listening to all this great advice. Thank you so much. I'm
yeah, you
just
bet.
Just change. Give me one sec here. There we go. So I can see everyone's beautiful faces here. Well, it's great. Thank you so much, Darren, for letting me have a few moments to speak. I am one of the founders of Real Hospitality Network. I'm also the founder of Xenia Global, and we do all things hospitality. So what we've done is we've brought together a whole shit ton of really amazing organizations, businesses, professionals, support services. And what we're doing is we're creating a business ecosystem so that the hospitality industry can work together, grow stronger, and thrive. And so my background, I'll let you know, I'm an anthropologist by trade. Okay, and I'm a PR communication specialist. I like to talk, I like to share knowledge. And so what we've done is Chef and myself have brought all of our background together to do this. And so this is what we're doing. So I heard last fall, we heard people talking about pivoting during COVID, pivot. And for me, pivoting is just going in a freaking circle. You're going in a circle. And so we started looking into different business models and economic and what's going on globally, what's happening, in terms of business in general. And so we decided to bring together and work as a large community, as a business ecosystem, so that we could adapt together instead of pivoting. And it's an amazing experience. We have a really great community going. We have people that are members through our operators, who, like I said, who are allied. We have different membership levels that go along with what we do. We do PR business strategy. We help you. And what we say is our membership is tailored to what you need. So what do you need when someone comes on? We're not an association. People get that confused quite often. We're a professional organization, but what we do is we find out what you need, then we support you, and we connect you with other members who also can support you. So from what do you need? This is what we do. So basically you can come in and be part of what we're doing. And we are growing. We actually just opened up our operator memberships for free. And so if you're an operator, you can join the network for free. We have a 24/7 call center to give you support when you need it. If you need a plumber at 3 a.m., you need a locksmith in the middle of the night, you can't leave your restaurant, you need someone to come, we help you out with that. We have the call center. We're actually also launching a lot of different digital and virtual support systems as well with that. But that's one of the services we offer. We can get you connected with some really great cost saving programs. One of the things that we've done in creating our ecosystem is that we don't take a profit share with anyone. So it's ethically done. So if you want to connect with someone, you connect with someone. I see Jeff King there, who has an amazing product. He's a member as well. Statement simple. If you don't know what he is, you got to find him out. You got to go check him out. Go connect with him on LinkedIn, because his service is something that people don't know that's out there, but that's going to cost you or save you thousands of dollars for what, Jeff? Like $10? No brainer. It's a no brainer. Yep. I saw Greg Getzinger here somewhere, who's Portion Paddle. Amazing product. It's an amazing product if you own a pizza restaurant. Simple, easy to use, but it's something people don't know is out there, right? So this is what we're doing. We're bringing the best of the best together. Darren, you're amazing. I love you. You're such a wonderful talent. He's part of our network, and I'm working with Darren as well on some different levels. So we're having lots of fun here, but this is about working together, supporting each other, and being successful. This is what we're doing. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Connect with me here on LinkedIn. I'd love to have a chat, talk more about what we're doing. If you have an idea for a program, what do people need? Let me know. This is what we're all about. This is what we're doing, is finding, connecting, and just helping people adapt and become very resilient, building businesses that are resilient, no matter where you are in that hospitality realm. Hi, Angelique.
Awesome. Thanks, Robbie. I appreciate that. If anyone's got questions, they can reach out to me as well. I can get them over to you quite easily as well. So awesome. Any questions for Robbie, guys? Okay, perfect. Well, we're coming up to 6 o'clock, so just a couple of things. Again, thank you to our guest speakers this evening. Thank you for all you guys for participating and being a part of this. Our next session is going to be on April the 6th, Tuesday. And I think what the topic is going to be for this one, and this is something that I've talked to a few of you about, is talking about recruiting and getting ready for when we reopen. Chef Jason posted an article the other day about how 4 million people from the hospitality industry who lost their job have transitioned into other businesses. And that's great for them. They needed to work, they needed to pay the bills and all that. But what's going to happen when we reopen and we don't have those 4 million people? Who is going to work our restaurants? Who's going to help us reopen those doors? What are you doing now to get ready for then? Right? So definitely it's a topic we need to talk about. I want to find some tools that are going to help point us in the right direction. So we'll be doing that on April the 6th. Guys, I will be sharing this out. Like I said, this was recorded, so the whole video will be shared out with all of you and to others so they can benefit from this. If you've got any ideas for topics or things, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to take some suggestions, because again, this is what this is about. It's sharing ideas and best practices to help us survive and thrive, as has been said on the call. So it's 6 o'clock, guys. Thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you again on our next Great Mind session on April the 6th. I wish you a great week and month until then. No, David, we will never forget our educators in the hospitality schools because they set up a lot of us to succeed and be where we are. So David was one of my profs when I went to Ryerson a whole long time ago. And we're not going to tell how many years that is. So guys, once again, thank you very much. I wish you all a great month, and we'll talk to you in April. Have a good night.